I have a kind of funny email address. People that don't really know me always comment on it and ask me what the story is. So in order to explain it, I need to go through all these VHS tapes. Going on a little trip back to where it all began. Come this way. Back to my teenage years, just down here. This is my childhood bedroom where I wrote my first songs and recorded the first demos on the Tascam 8-track and made beats on the Dr. Sample.
I'm gonna rap about my childhood for a moment. When I was
14 years old, I met Kat Gould through my friend Monique. So many people knew and loved her. Kat introduced me to this cool group of musicians who were a few years older than me. Timo Ellis, Sean Lennon, Sam Koppelman, and David Muller, who I really hit it off with, and David and I wanted to start a band together, but he had to go back to Germany for a few years, so in that time I ended up starting a band with two classmates, Stefan Merlichakis and Sam Axelrod. That band was called Dopo Yume. Dopo is after in Italian, and Yume is dream in Japanese, but I think I was just copying something that sounded like Chibo Mato, which was a band that I really looked up to and was friends with. Dopo Yume played our first show ever at the Spiral in 1998. It was the only venue where underage kids could just show up and schedule a gig. I thought it would be our one and only and final show because we were about to graduate and go our separate ways. But then Sean Lennon, who had been at the show, left me a voice message inviting us on tour that summer. And I played it for the guys and we all freaked out. We were so excited. We went on the road opening for Sean and Rufus Wainwright, who was also on the bill. And we actually played directly before Rufus. We had shown up without any real equipment. We just had guitars. So Rufus graciously, generously let us use his equipment. It was a life-changing experience and it was so much fun. But that fall, the band had to kind of split up because Sam and Stefan were going away to college and I stayed and went to NYU, and there were a bunch of Dopo Yume gigs booked, so I kept performing.
Would you please welcome Dopo Yume? It's Dopo Yume.
David had returned from Germany, so him and I started recruiting different members to keep playing those shows. A lot of good people played with us. A lot of good memories. Dopo YuMemories. Dopo YuMemories. Dopo Yume. Dopo YuMemories. Hard to know exactly how many songs Dopo Yume created over the years. On the internet, you can find about 40 or more. Some of them I wrote with bandmates, some I wrote with friends, many of them I wrote alone. Some of them have kind of strange origins, like this song Shopping Mall. My girlfriend, when I was 16, filmed me messing around in my bedroom with some musical equipment and kind of improvising.
Heart has a pain in the center.
Okay, sorry, that gives my ear a pain. I think that she dumped me shortly after we filmed this. For some reason, God knows why, I played this song for my bandmate David Muller, who was very amused by it and wanted to play it for our other friend, Timo Ellis. Both of them, to my surprise, really liked this one lyric, and my heart has a pain in the center of my brain, which I'm like, I don't even know what that means. So when we went to record the song Shopping Mall, David and Timo were like, you gotta put that line in the song.
And my heart has a pain in the center of my...
Other songs like Jellyfish, I can trace back to one specific night on a trip I took to a warm place with my bandmates. New Year's Eve 2000, which was a big one. I was a single young man and I planned on having a really fun time. They weren't even that much older than me, they were just all in relationships. I realized on New Year's Eve they were going to bed before midnight.
I'm sorry, Timo.
What, for waking me up?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I wasn't gonna do anything that crazy to celebrate. So I ended up going out on the beach alone and finding this little jellyfish, and it just sort of inspired me to write a lonely, waltzy song about it. A lot of my inspiration also came from books, and there are songs like Softcore that was inspired by a phrase in James Joyce's Ulysses. This is the copy that I had in high school that I marked up. Now, they also made a movie adaptation of Ulysses in 1967, which has nothing to do with this, but it's a good visual. I was lucky enough to have a teacher like Stephen Bender who helped me understand what was going on in this long, crazy 700-page novel, which is mostly stream of consciousness. Parenthetically, he also played a kind of terrifying villain in my short film, Smile for the Camera. I only read the book once, but I underlined a phrase, soft, soft, soft hand, which became the basis for this Dopo Yume song.
Soft, soft, softly, she looked so hot doing her laundry.
And there's another song in which the lyrics are taken almost entirely from The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. There are many things that we would throw away if we were not afraid that others might pick them up.
There are some things that we would throw away, but someone else might pick them up, and that makes us afraid.
Sometimes a song like Kiss would come from us doing a cover of another song. We did a handful of covers in Dopo Yume. White Wedding, Rock the Casbah, I Think We're Alone Now, Surrender with Frankie at Don Hills, a kind of punk rock version of Famous Blue Raincoat. One time I was brainstorming what song I should cover next, and a friend of mine who would soon be a really big movie star but was a fan of the band then was messing around on a guitar playing a silly version of Madonna's True Blue. I was like, that would actually be a really good song to cover. So we did a small, quiet acoustic version of it. And then we did like a heavier version of it. But I was like, why don't we just change some of the lyrics and the chords and make it our own song? What we didn't change though was the outro, the true love, oh baby. True love, baby. True love, oh baby. I guess we figured if Madonna's gonna come sue us down the line, then that would just be good press. Of course, that hasn't happened yet, so we're all in the clear so far.
All right, so now that we're wired, what are we gonna do?
Oh, Dopo Yume. Dopo Yume? Yeah, I love them. They're so dopo. They're roxy.
At an NYU music class, I met John Dabowski, who joined the band for a little while playing guitar and synthesizer. And he introduced David and I to a classically trained musician, Adam Crystal, who would end up staying with us through all these different incarnations of the band. And we were roommates for a while, and the whole band was really close. With this new stability, we went out to LA and recorded with bigger producers. And then Fisher Spooner hired us to be their backing band and open up for them in Brazil and Mexico in front of tens of thousands of people. It was the biggest audience we'd ever played in front of. As payment, we were given a gallery space owned by Jeffrey Deitch to practice and record in.
Quiet on the set!
Adam helped produce a music video that was directed by Michele Civetta for a song that was getting a lot of traction at the time called The Postcard.
I'm sending you a postcard.
So we hit the road again, promoting that song as a single for our album True Romance, with Kevin McGinnis on guitar and Joppa Keenan on drums. Only this time we weren't opening for any bigger acts that were drawing an automatic audience. So sometimes we would drive for hours and hours and get to a club and play for a handful of people, and it didn't feel worth it. We would be eating crappy food and sleeping in the van, and sleeping on couches. It just started to wear us down. And even though we had a great following at home, we were doing all this work and it felt like no one was actually seeing us. And pretty soon we were all wondering how much longer we could really keep this up.
Hello, and welcome to Board Game Hour. I'm your hostess. Thank you for watching.
In March 2004, I found out that my friend Kat had died much too young. She had been essentially responsible for me meeting the guys that would become my best friends and bandmates and lifelong collaborators. She had been so inspiring and so encouraging. And at the time, I wanted to write a fitting tribute song.
Everyone else is boring.
The lyrics weren't an exaggeration either. She was like so much fun to be around. But the song needed work, so we turned it into this version.
Everyone else is boring.
And we were really happy with that version, but then in the midst of everything, Adam and David, who had really become co-anchors of this band, had side projects that were pulling them in different directions, and I couldn't really envision going on, replacing them and starting again, so the band broke up. So I played it for Domino. And then we played it for Mark Ronson, who had also been friends with Kat. And I don't think I ever told him that this song was really about her. We recorded it with him, and that's why there are all these different versions of the song floating around, but I just want to dedicate all of them to Kat. Now that I was able to break out all these old tapes, kind of all memories flooded back to me, and I remember all the different people that helped out on photo shoots, the music videos, and made t-shirts and styled us and came to the shows. Over the years, a lot of different musicians came and went from Dopo Yume for various reasons. Some switched bands, some started solo projects, some changed careers. Some of us didn't get along. Some of us are still friends, and some of us we haven't spoken in decades. We're scattered throughout different time zones, different cities. I just want to send you all love and hello and say thanks for playing with me. And I hope I see you again. And you've got my email address if you ever want to be pen pals. But it's not Dopo Yume at AOL.com. I don't know if I told you, somebody had taken that. It's Dopo Yum at AOL.